All right. Just got started here. So let's see anybody who's here or going to show up. Just let me know how the audio and the video is doing. Let me see. No clickbait. Hyan. Okay. Well, hello. Hey, man. How you doing? That's good. If you can do me a favor and just let me know how the audio and the visual is doing. Just wrapped up a video downstairs of building an AR-15 lower. This time on this video that you guys get to see it live stream or happen in terms of seeing everything going on. So pretty excited for that. I'm going to try to drop it in the next day or two. So I don't know. Thank you. Okay, good. From No Clickbait. Thanks for being here. Looks like we have some people in the chat. So we're doing it live. Hopefully you guys saw the notification there. I'm just going to let Miss Texas know. She's at work, but I'm going to let her know that I'm doing this. So thank you. So for those who are new or those who haven't seen it before, every Wednesday night, 6 p.m., if I can do it, Mountain Standard Time, I like to do some kind of question and answer segment or kind of honestly answering, any questions you guys may have. And I do appreciate you guys being there and looking at everything. So let's see. But yeah, so I don't know. We just had an election and Joe Biden has won. And I've had a lot of questions about, I don't know, do I feel like the Second Amendment is secure? Is there anything we have to worry about? What's going on? So I don't know. I'm just here for the next probably hour and a half. Just going to answer questions. But yeah, we just wrapped up a video production about building an AR-15 lower receiver. So I think some of you guys might enjoy that. For those of you who have not built an AR-15 yet. So it's going to work. It's a pretty vanilla, basic AR-15 build. Spikes, standard lower with Aero Precision, standard lower parts kit, buffer tube kit, everything else. So I think it's probably going to help some people. But yeah, just wanted to see if you got questions or what was going on. Definitely at least not state of the Second Amendment, but state of, I don't know, a standard gun shop in America inventory. We still do not have 9mm ammunition. Just we don't, never. We still don't have any kind of 5.56 or 223. We just don't. We actually do have pretty decent quantity of 40 Smith & Wesson. So 40 cal, you guys there, you're good. We also have 7.62 by 39. So as much as an AR-15 kind of guy that I am, being, at least having one kind of AK or SKS or something, mini 30 maybe, that takes that caliber, might not be a bad thing because you can still find ammunition for that and train and practice with it. So, but yeah, the common types, defensive 12 gauge, 5.56 or 223, 9mm. It's all always out of stock. Even 45 too, which I guess has kind of surprised me as well. But being out of stock of 45 ACP or 45 auto, maybe it was the sign of the times. Not sure, but yeah, that's being out of that. I don't know. It's not a good indicator, but at the end of the day, I'm here for your guys' questions. If you guys have any, and let's see. But yeah, I'll be here for your guys' questions. In this case, I'm actually starting a little bit early. But yeah, in terms of the gun shop, don't have very many AR-15s at all. Most of the pistols we have are 9mm, but I don't have any ever. 5.56, 223, that's never in stock. 45, like I said, I'm surprised, but we don't have that usually either. So, but yeah, I'm just here for you guys and gonna answer some questions. But for those just joining us, we just finished up filming a video of building an AR-15 lower receiver, and I guess I'm a little bit of a stickler for doing things the right way. But I'm a school trained armorer, and when I was in the Army as an armorer, we always stuck by the 23 P, which is the Army training manual for that, and did everything exactly to the specs. So at the end of the day, you guys are going to see probably the next day or two a video drop where I'm building an AR-15 as per the mil spec. It's not just the parts that we choose to use, it's also the tools, but specifically the procedure on how we're going to build this thing to make sure that it's proper and correct, and it's going to function and be everything that we want it to be. I just saw that we had some more people show up, so thanks for joining. Again, let me know if the volume is or the microphone or the visual, anything is kind of spotty or not up to standard. Want to make sure we're good there. But yeah, I got to say, this year we've had a lot of first-time gun buyers. The vast majority of it has been people who have been buying a gun for the first time. And mostly people, they were not anti-gun. They were just kind of in the middle of like, hey, I've always kind of thought about buying a gun, but I don't know. I just kind of never got around to it. Never did it. It was never really a priority for me. And here I am in a gun shop trying to look for my first gun. I've had probably about 4 occasions now where people, through the discussion and talking to people about buying a gun, they've talked about, before all this, I used to be against guns in general. I thought they just belonged, for only the police or the military or whatever. But, I'm a 105-pound female and I live by myself. And if, some 250-pound dude was to come into my house, like I'm done. Like there's nothing I can do. And, I've had to call the police several times. I don't know what to do. But in the moment when things are going on, I guess I should probably have a gun. So I never thought I would see myself here, but now I'm in a gun shop, and now I'm looking at buying my first and maybe only gun, but buying something. So I've seen a lot of that as well. So I don't know. 2020 has definitely been kind of a crazy year. At least most of the time, I don't work sales. Most of the time, I'm repairing or building guns or fixing from old guns to new guns. That's mostly what I do. But when things get a little bit out of hand, which they do almost every single day, then I'll jump out there and try to help out with gun sales. But at this point, it's kind of triage, doing the best we can. Um, let's see if you got Raging Tempest in here or USA Patriot. Welcome. How we doing? What's going on, man? Let's see. I heard that Black Rifle Coffee has been under heavy criticism recently. Have you heard of them donating to Axe Blue or anything? So I'm kind of in a unique or weird circumstance where the gun shop I work at is owned. It's a veteran and family-owned business. And the veteran in question who owns the business, he was in Ranger Battalion with Matt Best, who therefore knows Evan. I've talked with Matt Best and Logan and Evan and Crispy 11 Bravo. And actually we have some filming and post-production planned. I guess I can't really drop the day, but pretty soon here, coming up in a couple weeks, we're going to have them back again. So we're going to do some more filming. But I've met Evan Haver. I've met Matt Best. I've met Crispy 11 Bravo. I've met Logan. I've met everybody who you see on the YouTube channels associated with Black Rifle Coffee. I've met them. And I guess that's kind of a side note of how I feel about the Kenosha Kid, Kyle Rittenhouse, and everything else. But I think I have more understanding, or at least more respect, for a business owner who is simply trying to, in this case, keep with coffee. And if you look at Evan and his backstory with, he didn't want to just make money. He really is involved with coffee. Where do we source it? How do we roast the beans? How do we make it so it tastes great? So long story short on all of this, knowing Evan and Matt and those other guys and seeing what they are about and what the company is about, I think this is a circumstance of somebody taking things out of context, that people are freaking out like, oh my God, I'm never going to buy from Black Rifle Coffee again. I know the people who own and run the business. I know exactly what they're about. They're very much like me, who have spent time in Afghanistan, Iraq, and beyond, and people who care about the product, but it's not just the product. They make an intentional effort to employ veterans whenever they can, and they don't always get it right, especially when it comes to public relations and PR stuff. But I guess the only thing I have to say about Black Rifle Coffee Company is we deal with them on a regular basis. I know them and have met with them and talked with them in person. And they are not the enemy that you're looking for. They're not what I think some people would want to paint them out to be. And that's a whole other side tangent on a business that comes from really good values, that maintains that, but they make a certain amount of money that now they become the enemy because they're too successful, versus a company that's just in it for money. That's it. So I guess I don't know if that's going to answer that, but hopefully that can kind of set things straight. But Evan, Matt, those guys at Black Rifle, they have a purpose. They have a reason for what they're doing, not just providing a quality product. That's a sideline of what they really intend to do, which is hire veterans, make it a family kind of company, and also help out where they can. And most of what they do is helping disabled veterans or helping my generation, the global war on terrorism veterans who come back with issues and helping them. And by the way, on the side, they run a successful coffee company. And getting back to the details, with Kyle Rittenhouse with the Black Rifle Coffee shirt on, allegedly. And, the owner and the founder of the company, Evan, wanting to just be like, hey, man, we're here about coffee and helping veterans. We're not trying to play sides here or anything like that. I can understand that. So I don't know. There's a lot of other stuff going on that I don't think everybody sees. So I guess I'll kind of leave it at that. Hopefully that helps answer that a little bit. Let's see. I've noticed that on some rifle scopes have a blue tint, while some others have a red tint. Is there a reason to that? There is. So I live by working on and building rifles and guns, and I'll work on everything from an AR-15 to a Browning A5 to whatever it is. It's just a machine. I can see how it works, and I can see what parts I need to order or what repairs I need to make. But mostly I'm the gun guy. I'm not the lasers and optics and lenses kind of guy. But the blue tint, probably most famously, we have the Trijicon MRO that has a blue tint to it. Some other optics and things have a red tint to it. One thing that I definitely recommend, being the gun guy, with steel, tempering the metal, heat treating, springs, tolerances, things like that, and admittedly not being the lenses and LED emitters and laser optics and optics glass lens guy. One thing I can definitely recommend to everybody is, if you can go to a place like Shields, Bass Pro, Sportsman's Warehouse, Cabela's, any place where we have just like a million red dots and scopes and optics and things that you can look through, definitely look through it. All of us have glasses, contact lenses, some kind of laser, eye correction or astigmatisms in our eyes and things like that. Your vision is not the same as everybody else's, and we're not all the same in how exactly we see. So some red dots may appear to be like a star cluster, Saturn planet kind of thing. Other red dots are going to be a crisp red dot that you can turn the brightness up and it's all going to make sense. Some scopes or traditional optics, you're going to see the duplex reticle or the stadia on that reticle, and it's going to make sense. Others, you're not. So if there's one thing that we can do is try to preview these things. I know everybody's going on Optics Planet, or even worse, Amazon or some online vendor, to order some cool guy red dot or scope, because it's going to be great. It's awesome. I would encourage everybody to try to go to a place like Shields, Schwartzman's, Cabela's, any place like that where they're going to have like a million scopes or optics that you can personally preview and see and look through and see what's going to work for your vision. Honestly, my go-to red dot is going to be an Aim Point. That's my preferred go-to and recommended red dot. Not everyone is made of $1 million. I'm certainly not. So, we're going to have to compromise here or there. But at the end of the day, Aim Point they've always appeared very clear and crisp to me. But that may not be the case for you. So everybody kind of needs to check that out. But whether it's a red tint or a blue tint, that could be with the quality of their lens coatings, that could be with the nitrogen filling or not, that could be with how that red dot or holographic sight is presented onto the glass for you to see. There's a lot of things that kind of move, a lot of moving pieces there on how that actually happens. So I would just advise anybody to, just kind of find the optic that is going to make the most sense for you after you've previewed it. And maybe you go to one of these big box stores and you find a Vortex Crossfire 2 or a SIG, Romeo 1 or, Holosun or whatever it is. Maybe you find the thing in person and you see it, and you look through it, it makes sense, it's awesome. And you find the thing that's working for you, and they have it at $200, but you can turn around and go to Optics Planet or Amazon, get that thing for like $120. At least you've seen it. And that's kind of, the point that I think everybody should do. So let's see. I will always love Black Rifle Coffee. We need to stick together in the 2A community. That's a big thing. I think whether it's the Gun Owners of America or the NRA old school crowd, or, hey, we're going to do this or that, and like, let's demonize those and love another. The bottom line is, if you hate Springfield Armory for the problems they had about a year and a half ago with Illinois state law, or Rock River Arms, or, you hate this company, but you like that one, and they're all Second Amendment related. At the end of the day, that's what they want. They want us to splinter. They want us to separate. They want us to have a fractionalized infighting kind of thing going on. And at the end of the day, I'm not the biggest fan of the National Rifle Association, the NRA, but I'm still a member. Not necessarily, 100% on board with everything that is going on, maybe with the Gun Owners of America, but I'm still a member of that as well. Black Rifle Coffee, with their recent situation, could there have been a better lens to put on that with the optics, as Obama called it, for the PR stunt or PR public relations interface? Could that have been handled better? Yes, but does that mean I hate them and it's scorched earth? I'm going to salt the land. No, because that's what they want. They want us all to fracture and join our own little infighting in communities and not support the Second Amendment at large, which these organizations and companies do. So that's kind of a side note. Okay, let's see. From Lancaster, what's up, dude? Thinking about an Ambi mag release. What's up?
You're gonna just jump in. It's cool.
Yeah, we're just going through some questions. We got Range Chris in the back.
Hey, everybody.
What's up, everybody? We got some totally not alcoholic beverages on tap right now.
Totally sober.
Yeah, totally sober. There we go. So Lancaster, Iraq, and Afghan crew, and also currently a recruiter right now. So I bet you feel good about yourself. Thinking about an Ambi mag release for the AR, since I'm blessed with being a lefty shooter. Thoughts? I would personally say no. I've seen a number of Ambi mag releases, but the origin of this discussion has to revolve around what lower receiver do we have? Is it a standard lower receiver? Because the retrofit Ambi mag release options are not as ideal. They're going to bump on your kit, bump on your chest rig, definitely a plate carrier, just popping the mag out. Of course, the magazine being inserted into the gun and not losing that when we don't want it to, that's kind of a relatively important thing. So I would just say learn how to, release the magazine with your right hand, pushing the button. Usually lefties, I know, push that with their thumb, push it out, and then grab the next and go. Or option two is you could, you could grab a proprietary Ambi lower that is set up for both of that. But those are going to be a little bit spendy.
Well, there are some cheaper options. The What Would Stoner Do 2020 that Ian and Carl put out is Ambi. And technically, Lancaster, yes, Apple Juice is sort of involved. There's Apple in here. It spent some time in a distillery, though, but that's neither here nor there. So there are some lowers out there. If you just have a stock BCM, there's a lot of guys that you can follow who are left-handed, who make it work. I mean, Ian, for one, just I can't. I'm spacing on Ian's last name.
Ian McCollum.
Ian McCollum, left-handed. He fucking
Gun Jesus.
Gun Jesus rocks a solid right-hander rifle, and just makes it work. Clint Smith would tell you that nothing's impossible and everything can be run right or left-handed. You know, and to be fair, if you are a lefty, you should learn how to run your gun right-handed anyway. So you should be well versed in doing left and right-handed mag changes and just function checks. Unless your name is Burton Savage, in which case, you know, you should just run everything right-handed regardless and just be a giant pile of stank.
I'll be right back.
So I guess it's me for right now. Hello, everybody. U.S. Patriot 1776 said I always love BRC. We need to stick together. I don't know if anybody, if 2A already addressed that, but yeah, we do as a community definitely need to stick together. We definitely need to be more open. We definitely need to be more welcoming, even amongst our the inside of our own community, be it the hunting community, the sport shooting community, the tactical community. We as a 2A community really just need to be cohesive overall, I think. So U.S. Patriot 1776 talking about rifle scopes with a blue tent versus a red tent. In tent to what? You mean tint or reticle? I'm not. I mean, maybe 2A will have a better answer for you. I'm not quite sure to what you're referring exactly. So hope everyone's having a lovely night. Y'all being safe. You know, I don't know how y'all feel, but being COVID aware, if not COVID, just irresponsible, I suppose. But you know, things are going the way they're going. Just realize you're wearing a Baby Yoda shirt. It's pretty fucking rad.
No, it's the child.
It's actually a Corgu now.
Yeah, it has.
It's got a name.
Yeah.
Child's got a name. So USA Patriot 1776 said, I noticed that some rifle scopes have a blue tent while others have a red tent. Do you know what he's talking about?
Yeah, we went down the rabbit hole on that. I referenced the Trijicon MRO for the blue tent and then
AR
everything
or
else.
pistol for home defense. That's going to be two different answers on that one here, I believe.
I think honestly, here's the thing. So pistols fucking suck. And they suck because they are really hard to get good at. And they take a lot of constant, they're very needy. It takes a lot of constant maintenance to stay good at. The calibers themselves, even if you're awesome, they're pretty weak. They're pretty anemic compared to rifles and shotguns. So pistols really have an ideal place if we're concealed carrying in public, and we want to have a gun on ourselves, but we're not trying to open carry an AR-15 or something crazy. We just want to have something on our body, and as we're going about our day, that's great. But pistols, you know, we like them because they're convenient. You can conceal them. You're not going to print as easily or at all, depending on what you have. But when you're inside your home this is your home, it's your castle, right? Castle doctrine. And you don't care about concealing it anymore. You don't care about printing. You don't care about the weight or size of it because you have to carry it all day. You just care about what is the best thing in my hands for this. I would recommend an AR-15 for home defense as the primary, or something definitely to consider. But at the same time, there's a time and place for a pistol as well for home defense. It's not ideal at all. And like I talked about in my recent 2020 loadout video, I mean, I'm always going to have at least a Glock 42 on me when I'm in close proximity to the house. Maybe there's a knock on the door at 2 a.m. and I'm trying to figure out what's going on. So I'll go to the front door with the old school bathrobe, throwing a pistol in there. Too easy. But, if I'm in my own home and I don't have to worry about size or weight constraints, I don't have to worry about printing, I don't have to worry about any of that, it's generally not going to be a pistol. It's going to be a rifle, is what I would say. But I think a rifle and a pistol have a place in home defense. At least with a pistol, with practice, you can reasonably shoot that one-handed. You can reasonably deal with that one-handed, and the other hand, pistol this hand, the other hand is opening doors, grabbing family members, or manipulating things in your environment. Whereas a rifle, it's not as easy, but an AR-15, lightweight, you can do that too. But I would say AR-15 for home defense, in my opinion, at least as civilians, what people can legally and easily buy or tap into. AR-15 is my primary dedicated home defense firearm. That's just me. What do you got?
And this is one of the things where 2A and I have very differing opinions. I'm going to preface this with it's MET-TC though, which is mission enemy time, terrain, enemy. It really depends on what you're doing. But that said, 2A makes some salient arguments about skill set, practice, maintenance, and all of those things are very, very important. But from my personal opinion, my perspective, I am a pistol shooter, so my go-to is in fact a handgun. Does that mean that that's it? No, I do have an AR-15 or a rifle of some sort with an easy reach almost at all times. Your rifle, I mean, it's key. It should be right there. It should be your primary. A handgun is secondary. But within the home, and Paul Harrell has some good videos on this, penetration through walls and whatnot.
True.
I personally feel that 9mm or 45 ACP, since ballistically you're getting pretty much the same results, even on target. I feel a handgun is the right answer for home defense, especially if you're using. And this is one I'm a little outdated. I'm a little behind the curve, but I do feel this pretty strongly. If you're your average homeowner, average person, 357 Magnum with a 4 to 6 inch barrel with 38 plus Ps should probably be your go-to, just for reliability, just for penetration, just for stopping power. A lot of reasons I think that's the right way to go. You deal with less malfunction issues. If you're a little bit more spun up, then I'm not going to tell anybody a 45 is the right way to go. 9mm is where it's at. You should get yourself a Glock or any striker fired or DASA 9mm handgun, be it a Walther PPQ, PPS, SIG P226, 229, 2022. Get yourself a 9mm high cap firearm. Well, it's really end all be all. But the rifle, I definitely think you need to have it, and it needs to be somewhere where you can get it. Because, I don't ever think, oh, the guy breaking into my house, he's going to have nods, he's going to have a high-speed helmet, he's going to have plates, he's going to have a rifle, he's going to be good to go, he's going to be squared away. I don't think the guy breaking into my house is going to be that guy. There's a chance it could be, and I do have a rifle in case that's the case. There's the old saying that your handgun's there to get you to shotgun, your shotgun's there to get you to rifle. Skip the shotgun portion. Take your handgun that's got a good light on it, because 2A is all about the light on the weapon. And I agree with that for home defense. You need to have a firearm that can take a light. That's more key than anything else for your home defense weapon is getting positive identification on what you're going to shoot at. All right. And a trick to that in your own house is keep the lights off so you can flash that light on, see what you're aiming at, and then make that decision of whether it's a go or no go. So, pistol or AR, light's really more important at that point because you need to protect yourself and you need to be able to protect anybody around you. But I personally feel that a handgun is the way to go.
Yeah, a handgun is definitely convenient, but that for most people, especially now, they're not going to have the ammo needed to properly train. I think the best gun in the world is the gun you actually have or have on you, and it's the gun that you're most competent and capable with. Even if it's a 22, which is not ideal ballistically or terminal ballistics wise, but
something's better than nothing.
Something's better than nothing. It's a gun you have on you. But if it's in my home and I have that kind of opportunity, pistols are great for being in public. They're convenient, but they suck. It's just not something. And I shoot pistols more than I shoot anything. But if I could have a rifle cartridge, I'm going to grab a rifle cartridge and do rifle things. But it's not the be all end all. So
rifles give you standoff room. Rifles give you a little bit more, reach out and grab somebody, a little bit more capability. And I don't know a single person who teaches a CCW class who doesn't tell you that your CCW, your personal carry weapon, that's there to get you the fuck out of the situation. That's not for you to be there and be like, oh, I'm going to be a hero. I'm going to take all these guys down. I'm John McClane. Let's fucking do this. No. Your CCW is there to be like, oh, fuck, shit's going down. Rounds are not coming towards me. So I am armed. I am cognizant. I am aware. I am extricating myself from the situation.
Yeah, time to go. Yeah.
And if they do see me and rounds are going to start coming my way, at that point, I am going to engage, close distance if I can. If I can't, I'm just going to use it for covering fire, and I'm the fuck out.
Yeah. Or you take down an attacker and all you had was your pistol on you, but surprise, now I have a rifle. That's probably what they use because rifles are surprise effective.
Ho, ho, ho.
Yeah. Okay, let's keep getting to these questions. Do you have any guns around you right now? Of course. Come out. Yeah. So got the old school Boomer Gat.
It's not a Boomer Gat.
This is the Mil-Spec 1911 hanging out right here. And within, my home or close proximity of my home, of course, going to have the Glock 42, little 380. Terminal ballistics are garbage, but, of course, I'm going to have
5 feet or less. It doesn't matter.
It's not something I'd want to get shot with. Let's put it that way, especially if you have trained hands or people that are going to play shots.
Ronald Yeater, I have signs on house and windows, stickers and trucks. Should I remove them when Biden wins? Well, by technical definition, Biden has already won.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of stickers on cars. If you have like Magpul stickers or H&K stickers or some gun manufacturer stickers like on your car, and it's like this really cool thing, and you have your truck or car and you got all these like gun manufacturer stickers on them. At least in my experience where Range Chris and I grew up in Southern California, like that means your car is going to get broken into.
You're painting a target on yourself. You're letting people know what you got. It's just not a good idea. 2A and I have had a long conversation about this, and it's actually one of my pet peeves, especially if you drive a big old lifted truck and, diesel and you coal roll people. Don't do that. Just don't, especially if you have gun stickers on your truck. Because now I'm going to follow this guy home, wait till he leaves, and I'm going to take all his shit.
It's actually a personal story. In college, one of the things I did, I worked as a cook and a server at a Ruby Tuesdays back in Virginia. And in my truck at the time, I had always an AK, an AR, a shotgun, and 2 pistols. They were always there. And that was back in the days when I would leave guns in a car overnight or when I wasn't there. And standard operation of business, just everything's going fine. And it was nighttime, and someone comes in like, "Oh my God, someone's car just got broken into, and you guys need to check and see." So we go out there, and it was the car. It was a van right next to my truck, and it was a wife and a husband, and they were out there having dinner for the night. And she had left her purse and everything just in plain view on the seat. So some crackhead broke into their van and took the purse. But right next to their van was my truck that had an AK, AR, shotgun, and 2 pistols in it. Not to mention the pistol I had on me at the time. But like, I didn't have any stickers on my truck. It just like my truck the truck I had at the time, it was beaten down, rusted. It looked like just a total piece of shit, and I didn't have any stickers on it. So, you know, if you enjoy having your windows broken and things taken out of your vehicle, let's go ahead and put, you know, Magpul stickers and things and NRA stuff. Let's put it all over the truck. But if you don't like things being taken out of your truck, I would probably avoid putting that on your vehicle, whatever it is. That's what I would say. In terms of the home, that's a whole separate discussion about, you know, that's a whole side note of thinking about criminals. You might see videos and things like, oh, criminals are stupid, they're dumb, they're just, you know, heat of the passion or the moment, they're just doing whatever. It's like, no, there's you might have some people that operate in your area that before they take down a house, they're going to research it. They're going to case it. They're going to drive around neighborhoods. They're going to look for the house that has the scary dogs, not just the sign, but they actually have, you know, they got a pit in the backyard. They got something back there. These windows look pretty hard to break into. That looks like tempered glass. We're not going to mess with it. They're going to just move on. So the bottom line is you don't want to have a house that's going to be a soft target or easy access, you know, for a team of guys to start taking everything out of your house when you're gone at work. They're going to case the joint. They're going to see your behavior patterns. They're going to see when you go to work, when it appears no one else is home. And if someone's home, you know, is that a threat? Maybe it's Grandma Jenkins at your house. And no, that's easy. We'll just put her in the corner in the wheelchair, just whatever. We're going to take everything out of the house. But putting stickers and things on the house, and especially putting stickers and things on the car or the vehicle or the truck, I would not do that unless you enjoy broken glass and things being taken out of your car.
There's a difference between deterrent and declaration, I think. You know, like you got the armed response sign out in your front yard, deterrent. You got a SIG sticker with a Magpul sticker, with an HK sticker, with all kinds. You're like, you can hardly see out of your back window. That's a declaration. That's, I got all this stuff. Look at me. And especially, you know, even in a theoretic world where if shit does hit the fan and society does collapse and you don't know whose side who's on, I definitely don't want people knowing what I got, who I am, where I'm from, and what I'm doing. So from my perspective, just don't advertise. Just don't advertise. Don't let anybody know. Be every man. Be just the face in the background. Just be the gray man, really. And it's just hard to do, especially with like Shooter Rahagi now, and everybody's now looking at the gray man and being like, "Oh, I could recognize that guy. He's kind of tacked out." So you gotta find a middle ground, guys.
Yeah, I would not advertise like, "Hey, there's probably guns in this car," so I would not do that. Let's keep moving. So from Ronald Yeater, we got it. It's okay. Other statement. Okay.
Yeah. I use a Chris Vector.
Patriot said he got an Aimpoint Pro. Yeah, dude, Aimpoint patrol rifle optic, or the Aimpoint Pro. That is the lowest priced Aimpoint product on the market, but it is everything you need and nothing you don't. You're not
zero things to say bad about it. It's a fantastic
it's great
solution.
Yeah. So that's good to go. Let's see. I use a Chris Vector 9mm carbine side folder for home defense. Yeah, I mean, that's one way to do it. I Range Chris knows I have a pretty intense hatred for pistol caliber carbines.
Well, you have mentioned that for home defense, it's not necessarily the worst option.
If you have a wife who is recoil sensitive and the only gun she likes to actually shoot on the range is a 9mm carbine of some kind, you know what? Any gun, again, is better than no gun. So I would be like, yeah, here it is. But dude, if I'm taking on the size and the weight of something like a Chris Vector carbine, but it's a 9mm, and for that same or almost exact size and weight, I could upgrade to a rifle cartridge. I'm not messing around with a pistol cartridge. But at the same time, you know, if there's a wife involved or someone else in the house that might need to use the gun, you know, I'm not trying to shit on you.
SBR it.
You know, yeah.
If you can, SBR.
Yeah, you can do that too, but I don't know. I just think any gun is better than no gun. But if I'm taking on the size and weight of an SBR or an AR pistol, but I'm doing it with a 9mm, I'm gonna do it with a rifle cartridge because, you know, pistols put holes in people, rifles shoot through people, shotguns blow shit off of people, and I'm not at close range with the right load. So I'm not interested in taking on a pistol cartridge unless there's someone else who is going to potentially share that gun.
Commonality.
But I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. So it's not the end of the world. It's not bad.
Chris Vectors are cool. They've got an interesting recoil system,
which is awesome when it breaks. By the way, the times I've had to repair Vectors.
How's their warranty? By the way, is it any good? Or
yeah, you can send it to them, and eventually they'll send it back and fix it. But
I mean, to be fair, I know a lot of people out in California who have bought them over the years, who do not have any complaints about them. I have an ex-girlfriend who loves hers. But being here in a free state, in the actual United States, SBR. That's what it was designed for. It wasn't designed to have a fucking 16 to 18-inch barrel. It wasn't designed to have that stupid faux suppressor on it. SBR if you can. Because that's, you know, a firearm that is designed in a specific way should be ran in that specific way.
Well, the Chris Vector, for most people, they haven't even put 10,000 rounds through it, so they haven't found the failure point yet. But when it breaks, it's kind of a nightmare to fix. But at the same time, for me, it's not the gun design as much as the cartridge. And if I can have a rifle cartridge, I'm taking it, especially if it's the same size and weight as a 9mm PCC. Yeah, I'm taking a rifle cartridge because I'm not interested in hopefully surviving. I'm interested in making things happen to survive. But
I mean, also an AR platform is way easier to reload than a Chris, even if you have the happy sticks. I'm just saying.
Okay, let's see. Keep both available. Pistol and rifle, probably. Yep.
I have a load of Buffalo Big Bore plus P copper rounds. Okay.
Yeah, Buffalo Bore and a Chris Vector is a hell of a drug.
It's going to put a little bit of wear and tear on your arm, but I mean, if it's working so far, it's working, brother. Ruger Security 9. I don't know it. You know it? I'm not familiar.
Yeah, the Security 9. I'm not a tremendous fan of Ruger centerfire semi-automatic pistols. You know, at some point, I would just say from the times I've seen them break, I would just go for a Glock or a SIG 320 or something in the $500 to $600 range and just be done with it for life, as opposed to like, hey, I'm going to get this cool thing for like $300 or $400, and then at some point it's going to break, whether I know that or not, and then you have to pay someone like me to repair it. I would just go with a Glock or 320 or M&P.
Because if it breaks, it breaks. Get a new one.
Yeah, you just don't want it to break when, of course, you need
not at the worst possible moment, but hopefully your breakages are going to be happening while you're on the range practicing, because everyone should be practicing still, even though there's very little ammo out there.
Which they're not doing.
So where were we?
Any thoughts? Okay.
Next one. I was wondering something. I have a Russian Saiga 12. I have two 20-round drums and multiple high-cap mags. I know they are hard to come by now because Obama stopped the importation. Should I sell it now? I would not, especially if you've got it running consistently and it's a reliable Saiga 12. I wouldn't. I would hold on to it. That's just me. I like the Saiga 12. I've only fucked with a couple of them. But I remember when they became street legal in California because they had the rifle grip and no pistol grip and et cetera, et cetera. And I know a lot of people were buying them, not liking them, and then immediately turning around and selling them simply because the break-in time and they weren't running high-velocity rounds at first to get their springs loosened up. And that was a waste, in my opinion, because the Saiga is a pretty decent shotgun, especially if it's Russian. You have a little bit of some collector's value there. If you have the Russian one, I would keep it. That's just me. Especially if you ever do want to get into like 3-gun or 2-gun. It's great for that. It's a great sporting gun. I wouldn't personally hunt with it because it's kind of trash for that.
I just think, I mean, and range Chris knows, but like from a basic standpoint, the only purpose a shotgun has for me is trap, skeet, 5-stand, sporting clays, competition, clay breaking related stuff, or hunting waterfowl, duck, things like
really
that.
Kind of foul at all, really.
Yeah, but if I'm talking about I have a choice in what I'm using for home defense, it is not a shotgun.
But I don't really think that's what he's talking about.
No, but for the Saiga, I mean, like, so rules apply. First thing, any semi-automatic shotgun, if we have to use it for home defense, and that's all we have, then we're gonna pick the loads. So for a semi-auto, whatever gas system or rotating bolt or whatever mechanical design it has to utilize a shotgun cartridge to make things happen.
A cartridge that was never, ever intended to be in a semi-automatic firearm. Let me throw that out there really quick, guys.
So for retrofitting the cartridge to work with something that it was not meant to be with, for a gun that's probably not ideal for that purpose anyway, we need to take, in an ideal circumstance, we're going to take like 6 to 8 different boxes or kinds or types of ammo. We're going to test it through the gun. Different gas systems and different semi-auto shotguns are going to need different things. In the shotgun world, we're talking about dram charge. So how much powder, port pressure we're going to have on that cartridge or shell, and is it going to function the gun reliably even in cold weather? But also the crimp of the shell is the crimp, is it a star crimp, ball crimp? What is it? Is that shell going to be crimped to a way that this semi-auto shotgun is going to like to feed, not to mention the pressure load and everything else? So, and in an ideal environment, if I have to use a shotgun for home defense or something, if that's legally or physically all I have, and it's a semi-auto shotgun, I'm gonna do 6 to 8, 10 different boxes of ammo. I'm gonna try it all out and see what the gun seems to like or reliably feeds at least most of the time, and then I'm gonna buy a lot of that, and then I'm gonna do a lot of training. So the Saiga, I don't know. I guess I'm biased, but I would, you can keep it. That's cool. Magazine fed shotgun, it's different, but I would not be using a shotgun for home defense to begin with. But if I had to, let's say I'm legally constrained that all I have is a shotgun, it would be a semi-automatic shotgun. But there would be a lot of testing involved with ammo to see what it likes, and then I would just do that.
A better question would be, do you enjoy shooting it? Do you like the Saiga 12? Because if you don't like it, if it's not a gun you enjoy shooting, if it's just taking up room in your safe or your gun room, sell it. Honestly, because I mean, if you're not going to shoot it, what's the point? Get rid of it.
Yeah, I would sell it and just get an AR-15. But that's me. That's not everyone. So.
But if you do like it, if it is something you enjoy shooting, if 2 and 3 gun is something you want to do, stick with it, because a mag-fed shotgun that's semi-reliable like the Saiga is, especially those ISMASH ones, I mean, you're not going to be hurting yourself. I'll tell you that.
Okay, let's keep going. Are you a fan of Colt rifles? I've heard they stopped making AR-15s. Uh,
2A, this one's for you.
well, here's the thing. Colt has been there since the beginning. Since the 1960s, they bought the AR-15 design and licensing from Armalite. They've been producing it for the government ever since, within the last couple of years. The M4 became the standard, so they kind of lucked out, and they have the license on that.
I'm gonna cut you off. Colt's not doing anything that anybody else isn't doing better. Okay, Colt is literally just doing the same thing they've always done. They're not innovating. They're not improving. They're producing the same shit that they've produced pretty much at least since the 90s at this point, and it's not great. It's not.
No, and I think like Colt is going to their fallback standard of what's comfortable. What do they have the tooling to do? So they're doing the 16-inch carbine length DI AR-15s. The markings are a little different. The quality is a little different. So we're dealing with the LE 6920. It's stuck in the 90s, but it's also a dependable quality standard. But could they do better? Yes. Have other companies done far better?
And it's
Yes.
it's not dependable because they make it dependable. It's dependable because the overall system that it is dependable. It's not that Colt's doing anything that makes it dependable. It's just that the system itself is dependable.
If I was interested in collecting Colts, I would buy one. If I was interested in having a modern AR-15 that is so much better than that,
Build one yourself.
I would not buy a Colt like at all.
If you have to have a Colt, rifle, we're not going to tell you not to do what you want. I'm certainly not. If that's what you got your heart set on, pull the trigger, do it, go get it. It'll have the pony on it. It'll say AR-15. It's going to be what you want. If you've already got your heart set on a Colt rifle like that, then it is literally going to meet and exceed all expectations, which is literally everything that Colt makes right now, especially their 1911s, because you're going to already have just those stars in your eyes from that little pony printed on the side, and you're going to be so fixated on it's a Colt that you're not going to be fixated on what's the quality like.
Yeah, well, the quality, they still to this day, well, not Colt, but they outsource it. But at least it's going to have the Colt name on the side. It's not made by them, but at least it's going to be made to the mil-spec standard as close as you can legally get. But if you care about your money going as far as it can go with the quality that you can obtain for that money, the Colt would not. I mean, but it's like back in the late 90s or early 2000s, sure. But in 2020, no.
And also, once more, talking about Colt ARs and Colt 1911s, Colt pistols, which really there's just so many people out there who have actually put in the time and the effort and have innovated and have developed and have put the money into R&D, and Colt's making the same thing that they've always made, which
the company itself has made some really not good decisions, and
prices have inflated. Quality is the same.
Yeah,
it's not bad. It's not that the quality is bad. The quality is just the same standard that it was 20 years ago or 30 years ago at this point, but the prices are where today's price point should be.
Yeah, if I saw what Colt is putting out with their 1911s, their revolvers and their ARs, if I saw that and we can go back in time to like 1999, I'd be like, dude, this is what we need to get. In 2020, no.
That said, 5 years ago, I was running a Colt M4, and I mean, that was pretty tits. I liked it. It was pretty good. Well, I wouldn't say no if you handed me one right now.
Yeah, but for a civilian on the commercial market.
Yeah, where I have access to all the different parts that I could want and could build it in any way that I want. It's just, for the money, I can build myself something way nicer.
Let's see. If you put a laser on your rifle, upload a video on it, I really would be interested to see it and how you would use them. Yeah. So a quality laser designator or IR illuminator or both costs a lot of money, about 1,200 at least to get into that. So it's going to take some time.
It's
but
not out of the realm of possibility, and 2A is looking into maybe having one before the end of 2021. But that's really going to depend on just life, the universe, and everything. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. I heard Colt is still making rifles, just not making civilian rifles. So Colt, from the onset, I think it's the ninth. It's the 8th or 9th time they've declared bankruptcy. They've put some patents and licensing and some serious collateral up to keep them afloat. So they're still working. But Colt they mentioned they were stopping civilian production so they cannot sell rifles or equipment anymore to the United States government, at least for 10 years, or in this case, about 9 or 8 years. If you declare bankruptcy, Uncle Sam doesn't want to have anything to do with you. But overseas government contracts, Colt can still do it. So they temporarily said, we're not going to do civilian stuff because we're so in a mess that we're just going to focus on overseas military contracts that are not U.S. government, because legally we can't anymore. They didn't say that, but that was the truth. And then once they fulfilled those contracts, they started putting out some civilian or commercial line AR-15s again that are stuck in the 90s. But Colt is still making stuff. It's just, and we have some of them at work right now, but they're, I don't know. They're not, I would not go for that unless you want a nostalgic build. And even if you did, the markings are totally different. The quality is about the same.
The most polite way I can say it is that quality has plateaued.
They just don't innovate. All right, let's see. Let's keep going here. The Sega is made by Ishmash, imported by Russian American Armory Company. Did not mess with the Trigger Group. Yeah, I still wouldn't. I don't know.
Not your cup of tea.
I generally hate shotguns a lot for home defense or anything defensive. Shotguns to me are just recreational only, where the Sega is not. I don't know, but that's one guy versus someone else.
Hunting and gaming versus personal defense, I suppose, is what he's trying to say. So Lancaster said for house defense, use a high point. 1, it would be embarrassing to die by, and 2, the cops can keep that shite pistol. Ha ha ha. I mean, mixed feelings, because if all you've got is $150, it fires. It goes bang when you pull the trigger on occasion, which is better than anything that does not go bang when you pull the trigger. So I would love to shit on the high point because I hate it so much, but there's a there. If it's all you got, it's all you got.
Yeah, I've seen guys like, oh man, like I love carrying my STI like staccato C2 with my RMR on top, and overall my concealed carry gun is like,
I shot somebody and they kept my $4,000 gun and they wouldn't give it back to me.
It's like, dude, I would like to prioritize guns that work for people. Don't worry about the price tag. If it's a high point. Like, if just for those who don't know, if you have to be drawn to the point that you have to act in defense of life, whether it's concealed carry in public or it's home defense, and you use a firearm to shoot somebody,
Heaven forbid.
for lawful self-defense. Yes, God forbid. But that's what happens. That gun is being put into evidence. And you may not see that gun maybe for at least a year or two, maybe.
If you're cleared.
But it's like, if that's the end of the world once in a lifetime, holy shit, we're doing it kind of thing. I've seen some guys like, oh man, I don't want to have like this $2,500 gun, or this really expensive gun, so I'm going to use a high point. It's like, you can, but I would just do your thing, because the gun in question is a gun that's got to keep up with, your training demands. I know ammo sucks right now, and you can buy 1,000 rounds of 9mm for the price of a car.
Would be indispensable for maintaining your ammo supply, since it's not going to fire every time, just most of the time.
Most of the time, yeah. I don't know.
Great Tomahawk. It's a great Tomahawk. Recoil did a good article on it.
Let's see. Talking about the Sega, she runs flawlessly. She's hungry for any round that is thrown in her. Even the, what is that? Brunky heavy
hammer rounds. You're not telling anything to sell me on telling you to get rid of it. Honestly, all you're doing is putting wins in this category. If it's running great for you, keep it. But if you're trying to get rid of it, if you think you should get rid of it, if you're actually looking for a convincing argument not to, you're already sold on selling it. So get rid of it.
Yeah, I would just think if we don't already have an AR-15 or something useful for home defense, I would probably sell it. But every man, to each his own. So let's see.
I do want a Sega 12. I mean, not a bad thing to desire. They're cool.
Patriot wants Sega 12.
I'm just saying, I know a guy who's possibly willing to sell his. Just saying, if the price is right.
Oh, this is your question right here. Yeah, he has a Smith & Wesson
5904 9mm. It's not accurate. Can you shoot out the barrel? Oh, you can shoot out the barrel on anything, man.
Yeah.
Is this a second-hand 5904? There's a lot of questions involved in this. Is it yours originally, or you buyer number one? Is this a used gun you picked up secondhand? Have you run a shit ton of rounds through it? Personally, I have a 5906. One of my great mentors and father figures, he runs a 5904, which I believe is the single stack. Correct me if I'm wrong, because if I'm wrong, I'll admit it. But he runs that gun. That's his backup gun. He's had it for forever, 20 years. Yeah, you shot out the barrel. You need a barrel lock.
Yeah, so I was going to say, from a mechanical standpoint, this was when the major manufacturers were on the brink of a modern service or duty pistol. But from a mechanical standpoint, recoil springs, gas rings, barrels, these are all durable and expendable items. They only last for so long. So, 20 years, 2 decades, and thousands of rounds. I mean, we're talking about something, whether it's an AR or in this case a Smith & Wesson, whatever it is, that much time and that many rounds, there's a lot going on. So I don't know. It's cool for nostalgia purpose, and Range Chris and I did the video where we shot like 21 different handguns and everything, and it's cool. But at some point that may need to be kind of a range toy or gun safe queen or collection piece. But if we're talking about daily carry or actual stuff, if it's not shooting accurate, that's the bottom line. Like, every bullet we fire in public, if we need to, there's going to be a lawyer attached to it. So if we can't guarantee where it's going to hit,
it's a Gene Learyism, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, but it's true though. I mean,
absolutely.
Like every round that we fire, we have to know what the gun is going to do. We have to be well trained in how to handle the gun and shoot it. And if we're not totally 100% for sure that this gun is going to do what we need it to do, and it has a cone of fire or some huge, it's like, No, I don't think, maybe we should keep that as part of the collection and not have that, as something we want to trust. If it's only doing like 6 inches at 25 yards, that's gross. Like, but can I buy a barrel myself? I now carry Glock 22 40 cal, so full size 40 cal.
Well, first off, check your rifling in your 5904, because 5900 guns, they're cool. Smith guns like that, those old frame guns are cool. Check your rifling. If your rifling's gone, buy a new barrel. A quick Google search should probably be able to yield you a couple of manufacturers. You could even contact Smith, see if they still produce barrels for it, and they might be able to get one for you for a decent price. One way or another, new barrels going to cost you some scratch, probably $250 to $300. Outside of that, I mean, if it's inaccurate, like 2A said, if it's inaccurate, it's not shooting well, there's nothing you can do about it. Put a new barrel in there, you're going to be good to go. As for the Glock 22, I mean, I wouldn't carry a total full-size Glock in this day and age, but that's just me, especially when a 40 caliber. But I mean, we have opinions about that.
Yeah, I mean, I think if it was like 2003 or 2002, carrying a full-size Glock 22, like a 40 cal full-size, that would be the answer. But it's kind of this double-edged sword where you can't find 9mm or things like that. So, carrying a full-size Glock 22 and a caliber of ammo that he can find, even though the caliber is awful and the recoil is hideous.
But available.
But it's available. So if we still want to train, I would not bring the daughter or the wife or anybody else on that gun. But if you're willing to deal with the 40 cal, you can find it everywhere. Yeah, embrace the suck. But I don't know. I would probably leave that as a collection piece.
What's the compact? 23?
Yeah.
23 would be good.
Well, the 22, it's better for more size and weight. It's going to have more grip and purchase, so you can deal with the unnecessary recoil of the 40 cal. I mean,
and if the only reason you're carrying it is because 40 is available, then more power to you.
Yeah, that's good.
Good choice.
Yeah.
That's where you should be at right now.
It's not efficient and it's not modern and it doesn't make any sense. Besides the fact that it's there. So if that's what you're carrying because you can easily find it and shoot it and practice with it, that's more power to you. That's great. Let's see. Any new videos coming in the near future? I'm looking forward to your almanacs. Yeah, so the two things I have, we just finished post-production. I was building an AR-15 lower earlier tonight. So the next day or two, that's going to drop. But in terms of the almanacs, I've been looking at doing a Constitution one, which I know is not going to have a lot of viewership, but at the same time, it's important to me, and I know you'd like to see it. But those are the two kind of in the mix right now. But yeah, probably the next day or two, I'm going to have AR-15 lower receiver build come up. And then when I'm done, I'm working on the research and making sure I have everything proper for a Constitution almanac, which again, I know is probably only going to get like 300 views, but at least I think it's important.
It's going to have quality information. It's going to be in depth.
Let's see. How do you feel about the SIG M400? I'm running iron flip up back and A2 post on front.
Which iron backup type is really the next question. But how do you feel about the rifle as a whole?
Well, yeah, the M400, I never have to repair them or replace them. I mean, SIG, not all the ways I'd like to see it, but they did get into the internal piston or direct impingement AR-15 game long ago, years ago with the M400. M400 tread, the biggest thing I have to do on them is not repair anything. I just got to get rid of that handguard. Customers hate it. So the second they buy an M400 tread, they just instantly ditch the handguard. It's gone. Weird taper barrel, which can totally be worked with. It's just kind of an interesting choice from them, but it is a quality gun. It's different, but it's still quality. Let's see.
Are you going to do another AR-15 explain video similar to the one you did many years ago?
Yeah, I think I will. Knowing what I know now and having the knowledge I have now, plus the time frame that has, transitioned or expired since then, I think it's probably something that needs to be done, especially with all the first time gun buyers who think, the AR-15 literally is Hitler or ISIS, but actually it's a really valuable gun to own for reasons that people can only really understand when they shoot it. I think I probably should do.
If you're not on the AR-15 train at this point, you're very behind the curve, and it's some very archaic thinking.
Well, we do have viewers who are not in America, so for them, I understand if they got to do something else. But if you're on this side of the planet in this country and not having an AR-15, based on what you've seen, what's going on, and you still don't have an AR-15, I'm surprised, but I don't know what to say other than go buy yourself an AR-15.
Double-minded, give it a chance.
Or build it. Let's see. Glock 2240 cal has ported barrel. Oh, so it's a 22C. Ghost ring sight.
In a 2-inch group at 15 yards. Thank you guys. The baby is up. If you're getting a 2-inch group at 15 yards, I don't know.
2-inch group at 15 yards. That's pretty. I mean, if I could, the customers I have who are shooting a handgun for the first time, if they can get a 2-inch group at 5 yards, I'm pretty happy. Like, that's honestly pretty sad. I'm not trying to talk shit or put you down. I'm just saying, like, 22 pistols are pretty important. There's another video that's coming probably the next week or so, but it's if I can only own 5 guns, what would I have? And one of them would definitely be a competent quality 22 pistol, because most people suck with pistols. Pistols themselves suck, and having a 22 pistol helps mitigate sucking with it, but also shot placement gets better, competency gets better. So I'm not here to judge, but 2 inches at 5 yards pretty good.
2 inches at 15 yards is great. You're doing justice to what you got, so no complaints. Keep doing what you're doing.
Any gun is better than no gun. I'll always stand behind that. Let's see. Probably got about another 10 minutes here, and I think we're gonna call it a day. But let's see if we can answer these.
He said can't stand the handguards on that SIG 400.
Yeah. So yeah, the SIG M400. It's a great place to be for the bolt carrier group, and also the barrel. The rest of it is pretty standard. It's okay, but upgrading the handguard is usually what I've seen, and definitely a lot of the jobs I do when we actually have an M400 tread or M400 in general in stock. Usually the first thing that happens is some kind of free float handguard, or that handguard has to be dealt with immediately. So it's not like it's absolute garbage, and it's made to a decent quality standard. It's just aesthetically, but also more importantly ergonomically, there's a lot probably left to be desired there. But let's see. It's amazing to me how many news networks will make videos talking about the reasons why AR-15s should be banned. And many of the reasons that they give are the same reasons that one would want one. Yeah, I mean, the bottom line about the AR-15, I think it was ahead of its time. It started as the AR-10. eventually became, due to the Department of Defense, chiefly the Air Force, became the AR-15, which got sold to Colt, and they made the M16 eventually when the military adopted that. The AR-15 is not brand new. This technology, we're dealing with 1960s. Like, we haven't even gone to the moon yet, and we have an AR-15. So it's 1960s technology, by and large, mostly unchanged, minus handguards and optics and lights and rails and stuff. But the heart and soul of the rifle is mainly unchanged. It's not, I think the media, for the first step, when there's a mass shooting or something awful, they try to make it sound like the AR-15 is some brand new hot ticket item. It's not the case. This thing dates over half a century now. A little bit old, out of date, but if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But yeah, AR-15 has been around for a while. And if people, I've done it a number of times where I've had a whole bunch of pistols, a whole bunch of shotguns, and a whole bunch of rifles. Now, I've had people who are looking for their first gun purchase to defend themselves in the home. And after they've shot everything, or at least a pretty big sample size of pistols, rifles, and shotguns on the market, they always seem to lean towards the AR-15. And I'm not surprised, because ergonomically, it's one of the best. Recoil, very manageable. The stock is adjustable, very modular.
Light recoiling.
So, yeah, I'm not surprised by that. But it's sometimes a little weird that the one thing you're not supposed to have, or the one thing that's evil, or the one thing they don't want you to have, is exactly the same thing that people on their own, in my experience, have gravitated towards as the ideal home defense weapon or personal defense weapon. So I don't know. Imagine that.
Sex and violence sells. Ignorance is bliss. If it's anything that you can really look the media for doing since 1990, is taking a half-formed, ignorant argument and twisting it to appear as cogent, solid logic. People, especially in high-density metropolis areas, react better to fear than common sense. I mean, anybody out there, look at somebody when you're in an argument and be like, hey, educate yourself and see how they're going to react. The immediate gut reaction is, oh, you can't tell me I need to educate myself. I know what I'm talking about. I have sources. I know what. And really, it's people will grasp at straws. People will take really nuanced ideas, and they will use platitudes to break them down to sound bites and bit segments of rather irrational aspects, and make an argument that doesn't actually work, which is why especially the left and liberal-leaning people are so anti-gun to begin with, and it all stems from a place of ignorance on the topic itself. I don't think anybody in this chat right now that's live streaming isn't aware of what an AR-15 is, where it comes from, how useful it is, or how prolific it is. But if you're actually talking to Joe Blow on the street in, say, Los Angeles or New York about, whether or not an AR-15 is dangerous to the common populace, they don't know how prolific it is. They don't know that it's the #1 sporting rifle in the United States. They don't know that it's been in production since the 1960s. They don't know the history of it in the Vietnam War. They don't know how it's evolved throughout the United States military. They don't know how it's evolved throughout the U.S. civilian market. They don't know anything about it, really.
I would answer two things. One, the AR-15 has been out for public sale for so long that we have, at this point, AR-15 rifles that are now eligible for CNR, like Curio and Relic licensing, which is to say that it's older than 50, half a century, 50 years old at this point, that we have AR-15s that are now Curio and Relics legally. And the second thing is, I don't necessarily at all care what anyone arbitrarily defines as more safe or unsafe for the civilian. But I don't care. I don't care because we have rights, and I don't. I guess in the words of Jefferson, I prefer dangerous freedom over peaceful slavery. So even if you told me, hey, the AR-15 and people being able to buy it and build it and use it and have it, the AR-15 contributes to like 3% more danger for the populace at large. I literally don't care. I do not care. Like, that's our right. We're gonna own it and do it. I don't care. Like, if you have problems with that, propose, use Article 7 of the Constitution, make an amendment. Otherwise, what are we talking about? I don't care. Like, I want people to be free, and I don't care what I legally obtain that is my privately owned personal property that I use in a safe and responsible manner. I don't care if you assume or claim to allege that it's more dangerous for the public. I don't care. Like, it's not even remotely in my consideration of why I'm buying and outfitting myself with what I do. Like, I just don't care. Like, it's my right to own it. So that's kind of like, hey, we live in a capitalist, democratic, republic, free society. So, if you got problems, change the law. Otherwise, cry more. I don't know what to say.
I've made this point in a couple of the shotgun blasts, and it's individual autonomy versus the ideals of a society as a whole. Okay, so reasonably, what every individual should reinforce in themselves is that they are an autonomous unit. They are an individual, and while they prescribe and belong to a whole, they at the end of the day are responsible in and of themselves for themselves, right? If you murder someone, you're responsible for those actions. Okay, society is not. And there are people who would be like, oh, well, society caused. No, that's a terrible argument. No. You make a decision. You make an autonomous action. Okay. You're responsible for it. In that same vein, okay, if you carry a gun to defend yourself and someone attacks you, you made an autonomous decision to defend yourself. That person, that other person, society didn't make them attack you. But what the media would spin it is, you, through your counterculturalism, decided that you were going to attack this person because they made an ill-informed decision. No. Okay. That person made a decision. You made a decision. Two autonomous individuals coming together at a moment of unfortunateness, which is not a word, but I'm going to use it anyway. So you as an individual have all of the world of responsibility on your shoulders. You make decisions for you. You should be allowed to buy what you want to buy. You should be allowed to own the things that you already own. Okay. It doesn't matter if society then decides, hey, we don't think you should own those things, because society doesn't get to decide whether or not you're a responsible individual. Okay. And I will literally back this up by the fact that I joined the U.S. Army in 2013. In 2014, my AR-15 in California became a felony. And then just while I was overseas serving my country, I became a felon because the people in my state decided that no one in that entire state was responsible enough to own a little button on the side of their rifle that would make a magazine go "Katha."
Yeah, I think with AR-15s, and they most of the time correctly say like, "Oh my God, we just had this horrible mass attack, this mass shooting thing, and all these people are killed, and the shooter used an AR-15s." Now it's time.
Something similar.
It's time we ban all AR-15s. To me, it's like, man, I want to go to a steakhouse and have a great steak dinner. Don't tell me that you've banned serving steaks because a baby can't chew it. Like, it's not appropriate for them, but I still want to enjoy steak because it's what I'm willing to pay for and it's what I'm willing to engage in. So don't tell me that you've stopped serving steak because some people in the populace can't do it responsibly or can't enjoy it. I don't care. Like, it's a freedom thing. It's not. So I don't care. I've said it before, but even if AR-15s and things like them became banned, I don't care. I'm still owning guns. I'm still owning AR-15s and AKs. I'm still doing what I'm doing. Like I think Range Chris and I think we've earned the right to do that. And I don't particularly care whatever political whims seem to come across. I'm owning the guns I want to own, and I'm going to defend myself and my family the way I see fit. And I don't particularly care what they think is the problem at the time. I'm still doing it, so I don't care.
I'm in the United States. No one's actively gunning for me, so I'm not going to go out actively hunting for people who are gunning for me. If someone comes after me, then I'm going to defend myself. I'm going to get after them. But outside of that, I'm minding my own business. I'm not going after anybody. I'm not doing anything. I don't own anything that's going to affect anybody else. Nothing I do, and this is a point of personal pride, I literally go out of my way to not create any kind of conflict or friction between any other human being. I tell people that I don't judge them no matter what they want to do, because you know what other people are doing is not my business. The second it affects me, it becomes my business, because that's them infringing on me. But I go out of my way not to infringe on anybody else. And I really think that should be the United States mindset. That should be the individual mindset. Don't infringe on others. Others won't infringe on you. It's the golden fucking rule. Do unto others as others would do unto you. Just don't. And if somebody makes the argument that, oh, well, you can't, and like, why are you telling me what I can't?
Well, summed up, I agree with all of that. It's like we're not going out there to fuck with anyone. And I don't want to be fucked with, but don't fuck with me, because there's consequences to every action. So I'm not trying to be fucked with. I'm not looking for that attention. I'm not looking for that, but don't fuck with me, because I'm an American. I'm going to have what I have, and I don't give a shit if it's particularly legal or not. I'm an American, so I'm going to do it. I don't care. I think it's probably the way to sum that up. Let's see. Get into these final questions before we go.
Do you think the military should switch to 16-inch versus 14.5?
Well, that's a very nuanced question. Because,
yes, if they're going to go with 15-inch quad rails that go all the way out to the end, so they can actually get control over the rifle. Otherwise, if you're still going to stick with a mid-length A2 front sight post, then no, because you're not getting any benefit.
Well, we'll see how the modern modular service rifle program goes, where Techron and SIG and everybody is in the running. But now that Biden is president, the military is not going to get any funding, so that program is probably going to fall on its ass, like everything else we've seen. So at this point, we should just stick with what we have. But ideally, I would like to see some changes if it's going to be a 5.56 carbine, and a carbine is what the Army and the military at large wants for everyone. I would make some changes. I would do a 16-inch mid-length, and I don't think it's that big of a deal, but we'll see where it goes. I guess it depends if we're going to try the change into a new carbine, which looked hopeful, but now I don't think that's going to happen. Maybe. So I guess we'll see. Let's see. Yeater was saying he has 27 pistols, all different, but agree we'll grab AR-15 or
PLR 16.
Okay. 223. You want a 5.56 chamber. Don't go for 223. Which is a side note. 5.56 NATO and 223 Remington are two different cartridges. They're not the same. I think most people think they are, but they would be wildly mistaken.
So 357-38 kind of thing. Now, however, with 223, if you go to 223 Wild, you could do that or a 5.56. I would say 223 Wild or a 5.56, because those barrels are rated for the same pressure versus a 223, which is a lower pressure cartridge. But we're getting in the weeds on that one.
Well, even then it gets different, because some manufacturers will say that they have a 223 Wild barrel, but if you actually gauge it, it actually has the freeboard dimensions of a 223 Remington. So
stick to mil spec. 5.56 mil spec. That's the right answer there.
If you can.
To a question that really wasn't even asked. But AR-15, 223. Good choices. Good call.
Let's see. Thanks for the live stream. Have a good night.
T. Jeff's almanac.
T. Jeff's, yeah. So
maybe T. Jeff's and the Foundy Boys.
Yeah, those who've been watching for a while, you guys know Thomas Jefferson is my favorite founding father personally, but Patriot Hero is asking for an almanac on Thomas Jefferson. We'll see. I don't know. I have 3
Usually
books.
gets a mention in any almanac we do.
Yeah, it's so we'll see about that.
Media fact versus fiction video. That's a whole wormhole. There's a lot you get lost in the weeds on that one.
Yeah, I think journalism at large is I don't know. I'm not a journalist, but from journalists who have been in the business for decades, and the things they have to say about what we have today, journalism is pretty much dead, according to them. That you have to push a certain objective or a certain standpoint or agenda to work with a certain group or media outlet.
Now, it's not a bad idea, but if we do that, we're going to shit on everybody. But there will be no, but this guy is except for maybe Joe Rogan, who's probably the most impartial news media source ever. And he's not even a news media source, so don't go to him for your news, please. Don't look at him like fucking John Oliver or Jon Stewart.
Most people these days, they go to late night television or the Daily Show or something.
Fox News, MSNBC,
and that's their
CBS.
Dedicated. Like if all you watch is the Daily Show, you're fucked. If all you watch is Fox News, you're fucked. If all you watch is CNN, you're fucked. If all you watch is MSNBC or NBC, you're fucked. Like
CNN,
you have to. If you care about hearing what you want to hear, then go ahead and stick with one of those.
Echo chambers are great.
It's amazing. But if you actually want to know what's going on and try to see it from different angles, then you shop around, you check them all. So relying upon one news source or entertainment night show disguised as an informative news source, and that's what you want to run with to provide you information as to what's going on, you're fucked. You're not going to get what you need. So I actually look at the BBC, I look at Fox, CNN, MSNBC. I watch everything from Ben Shapiro to Rachel Maddow. I watch everything to see what the various slants, because at this point you can't have, I don't think you can really have an impartial news source. You're going to have the different slant on the same news story. The same thing happens and you get to see how everybody reports on it. And if you actually shop around, you get to see more details about how did this happen, why is it happening, and everything else. So
I'm gonna jump on that. For every one news source that is your usual preferred side, at least 2 of the opposing side, I would say, because I have a bad habit where I'll see a news source and I'll immediately go to one of my preferred sources, and then I'll immediately jump back to one of my opposing sources. And then the entire time I'm reading the opposing sources, I'm nitpicking and I'm saying, oh, that's wrong. This is extremism. This is just emotional. And I admit I have this bias that I'm already looking for the flaws in their article before I've even given the article half a chance. So I would say for every one news source that is your preferred news source, look for at least 2 others, because what you're going to be able to do is if you utilize critical thinking, you're going to be able to snatch all the fragments of actual fact that have been unevenly disseminated throughout all of this, and you're actually going to be able to come out with a coherent story that is going to be, removed of bias, and you're actually going to know what happened, because you're going to actually have people with different sources reporting on things that are trying. If you do it as you, the viewer, the reader, the absorber of this information, you're actually going to be able to take this information. You're going to be able to come up with a coherent timeline and an actual outline of what actually happened.
Yeah, I think that's, and Range Chris knows, but one thing that I have always said in recent years especially is I think it's not as much the media outlets as much as the bar for entry in terms of like as Americans taking in new information and digesting that, or trying to cross check it or fact check it or assume it's true, the bar to entry on that is very low. Americans, from my travels around the world, we have a very low bar of what we're willing to accept at face value and just run with that, as opposed to a lot of foreign people I've seen that don't necessarily trust what they're being told, and they have this self-motivated desire to fact check it and see it. So the bar to entry for new information is pretty low. So maybe we have ourselves to blame. I don't know, but a media fact versus fiction kind of thing, that would be so almost impossible to even put that in one video completely. So that's not really my lane. My lane is the Second Amendment, so I think I'll stick with that. But I would just encourage people to seek many different sources. Unfortunately, in 2020, that's what we have to do.
Gather as much information as possible.
Yeah, before you take something and run with it. Let's see.
But don't emotionally react to anything. An emotional reaction is not an intelligent reaction.
Okay, well, I think we're going to go for tonight. And next day or two, you guys should see a video drop. It's going to be building a standard, very basic AR-15 lower. Not a lot of complexity or aftermarket stuff, just a standard AR-15 lower. But instead of my last video where you saw a bunch of photos and me basically doing a voiceover, in this case, you're actually going to see it done. And then
YouTube removes it.
Yeah, until YouTube decides it's not part of their community guidelines or whatever. So thank you guys for being here. We're going to go. But yeah, we'll be around. So
good questions, everybody. Good questions.
Yeah, thanks for being there in the chat. And we will see you guys a week from now, next Wednesday, for the live chat. All right.